So I want to go back to that conversation we were having about us living in an omni-channel world now. So Nick, I really want to get your perspective on this because everything is so omni-channel, because there are so many different consumer touch points. How should brands think about the path to purchase for their consumer?
Yeah, so it's clear the path to purchase has changed fundamentally, right? Consumers now are less brand loyal, and I think what's highest priority for them is number one, choice, and then second to that is just convenience.
Mm-hmm.
So modernizing a brand's user experience, I think, is key to capitalize on that shift in consumer behavior. And we actually have an image that of a really good example of a company that's doing this well. And this is really just allowing, even on your own .com, the ability for consumers to link out to any retailer of their choice, right? We see this a lot more with some of our larger partners or enterprise partners, right? Where things like market share and retaining that sale is as important. And our job is just to, direct them to where it's easiest for them to purchase. So that is really the path of the future, right?
Mm-hmm.
As these marketplaces build up more and more share within where consumers are just going in their own day-to-day lives, we need to also modernize our ability to speak to that customer and drive them into those marketplaces.
Yeah, and I think I can't remember the exact stat, but the less brand loyal people are, the more these things like ease of purchase and fast shipping are going to make a really big difference in whether they decide to buy from brand A versus brand B. But I'm going to play a little bit of the devil's advocate here because that's all well and good. But if you're a brand and you're sitting in the marketer's seat, you're saying, well, I don't want to give up margin sending to Amazon, right? I don't want to give up margin sending anywhere and to any retailer. I also maybe don't want to lose first party data. So for those people who are still trying to make a big impact on their .com and they maybe don't want to send to that retailer or Amazon, how do you go about balancing that?
Important question. So you're right? If I'm an enterprise company, right? If I'm one of the larger manufacturers, my goal is more one of market share than it is just pure profitability.
Mm-hmm.
For SMBs or more mid-tier companies, again, you're absolutely right. Why would we give up, right, 20, 25% of that margin into a third-party marketplace like Amazon? So I think there's a couple of things you can do here. One, for enterprise, again, just offering that choice and convenience is going to be a big step in keeping that customer. But for SMBs and some of the smaller companies and mid-tier companies we work with, you don't necessarily have to have this as an always-on strategy, right? One thing that our team always tries to implement, especially around peak holiday periods, is consider adding to your own .com, linking out into Amazon or Best Buy or Walmart during periods where right, order velocity is just going to be so much higher. And even this would even make sense if you're coming up against some supply side challenges, right? Where, for instance, if your FBA inventory is more fully restocked, you're 2 days into Q4 and you realize that you're suddenly running really, really short on inventory. So I would consider linking out to those marketplaces during peak holiday periods as a way to, again, make sure that you're not losing that sale and that customer.
Yeah, that's a good point. And perhaps even as we get closer to some of those shipping cutoff dates and things of that nature, if you can't guarantee shipping in 2 days, 3 days, whatever it is, Amazon, it might be Amazon or bust for you. Follow-up question on that. So are there good tools or tools that you've used to easily implement this to link to a .com? Like, how would a brand if I wanted to do this for this Q4, how would I get started? What should I be using or testing, etc.?
Yeah, the two best tools we've used, and I would recommend this more for our mid-tier SMB partners, is a tool called Price Spider. They do a lot of the UX work for you. It's pretty turnkey in terms of implementation. For larger companies that are looking for more of a dedicated solution, there's a company called Micmac that actually does this really well. General Mills uses Micmac now to help them with their .com UX. So depending on where your company is in terms of its life cycle, those two tools we'd probably recommend um, to be able to quickly execute on this.